Hello guys, so I think we're in part 7 if I'm not wrong. So we are waiting for the render, and as you can see we have now a blank image, and that's because we must include the lighting so that we can see. So how do we add the lighting? There are many ways to add the lighting. If you look at the outliner, there's a option of, let's first go to user view. To go to the user view, press the number pad 0 on your keyboard. Let me turn on the screencast tool first, because it's like it's turned off. Yeah, and yeah, now you can see what I'm doing. So there's one way you can add light, and one way to add light, you can add a point light. And to add a point light, you can just press Shift A and go to here to light, and you can add light, you can add the sun, you can add spotlight, and you can add area light. So we shall be looking which one is much preferable. So we shall just start with point light, and right now you can't see the effect because we are in the solid view mode. So if you go to the render view mode, you'll see that now it's starting to calculate the light. As you can see, the path tracing sample. So let's first go to the material view mode so that we can able to preview our work. And let's go back now to our camera view by pressing the number pad 0. Then let's go to shading, because on the first, let's select the cylinder is our environment. So let's double click it and rename it environment, like that. Then go to back to shading where we had created our nodes, and now let's first zoom out by, if you put your mouse here on this viewport, use the scroll wheel button to zoom out like that. And I think you can also go to camera view in this position. Yeah, you can go to camera view by pressing the number pad 0. And now let's add we are currently on the solid view mode. Let's go to the material view mode first. So let it load first. It's currently loading, as I told you, depending on the speed of your internet. It might be faster or slower. And when I'm in the material view mode, I like to progress as I save, because anything can happen, because now it's calculating the texture of the material. So let's first press Ctrl S to save. Then now here in the emission, let's increase the strength of the emission so that it can affect our scene, because that's what we want. We want it to be reflected in our scene. So let's increase it to about there. And let's now, there's a special node, there's a special widget called the Node Wrangler, which others can call it an add-on, and it usually comes with this software. And let me show you where it is first, because we have to activate it, because it's usually used to position the image texture that you have uploaded. Like if it's the rotation or it's the scaling of the image, it will help us position it to where we want it to be. So let me show you practically first. Let's go and turn it on here on the file. First, let's ensure that it's rendering at 30 frames per second. Yeah, it's okay. So go to file and go to, not file, edit preferences. So give it time. Okay, it has load. So here in the add-ons, select here in the add-ons, then come and type here the Node Wrangler. It's a very powerful add-on, and currently mine is already activated. So if yours has not been activated, make sure you have ticked this box like this. Yeah. So after checking the box, close that panel. Sorry about that. Then now select the texture node, texture image node. So when you select it, it will be highlighted with the white line. Then now press Ctrl T, not Ctrl T but Ctrl Alt T with the mouse on the mouse is on the viewport. viewport. Let's press Ctrl T, and when you press Ctrl T and pan around like that, you'll see an option like this. And now this we can now change the position of our texture to suit our needs. Let me show you. Like if it's the rotation, let's rotate it on the x-axis like that. As you can see, it's rotating slightly like that. Be checking here. Now let's try to rotate it on the y-axis and on the z-axis like that. Play around with it until you get your desired shape. And also the location. Let me see if I can get the best position. You can play around with the image texture as much as you want using the node wrangler. Once you press Ctrl T after activating the node wrangler, it will give you this mapping and this texture coordinates. Let me zoom in so that you can see. I'm using the middle mouse button to pan around like this. If you press the middle mouse button, which is also the scroll wheel, if you press it, you can pan around like this. So when you use the node wrangler, if you activate the node wrangler by pressing Ctrl T, it will give you the mapping and the texture coordinates. So let's find our desired position of our texture. You can also scale it. I think somewhere like there. Something like that. Let's rotate it. Let me first check where our coordinates are. Let's just zoom out. Okay, let's move out of the camera view by pressing number pad 0. And I think it's best to edit it at this position. Let's start with the rotation. I think the rotation is okay. The y-axis, I think that's fine. The z-axis can't change it because it's already aligned on the z-axis. And let's play around with the rotation. I think the rotation, let's put it at 0, and also on the x-axis let's put it at 0, also on the z 0. And you can also, there's a trick I saw that if you click without releasing and drag the mouse, you can change all of them at once. So if I press now 1, it will change all of them, and it has changed to that. Let's now increase it equally. Oops, let's change that to 1 again. Let's first click and drag, then let's try and change them equally. How about 3? No. I think I'll have to edit them one by one. So let me drag first, then reset them to 1 and enter. Then let me scale it manually each. Till I get my desired shape. I'm actually clicking and dragging, if you're wondering. So something like that. And the image look at least a little bit more realistic. Okay. I think something like that. Let's see how it's looking on the camera. Yeah, I want something like that. So let's first check our lighting, and let's first press Ctrl S, and let's go back to our layout, and let's go select the light. Where's our light? On the Here is our point light. Select it on the outliner, then go to this icon, which is for the properties for our lighting, and we want to increase the power. Let's work with about, I think, 1000. Let's start with 500 watts. If we just set 500 and enter, it will convert it to watts. And we want to give the environment at least a blue light, a light blue light, not the environment but the light, the point light. Let's give it a light blue light to match our texture image. And let's see a small preview of how it might look. So before that, I'm seeing like there's a little bit of darkness on the window. We can add an area like there. So let's go back to the solid view mode. Before giving it another render, let me show you how you can also, as I told you, these panels can be anything. So let me open and drag a panel here. Okay, let me try and drag it from here. I want to open another panel like that, so I have to drag it from the other side. And you can also open another one from the bottom if you want, but I don't want from the bottom, so I'll right click here and join areas and join it. You can join it on the upwards, on the downwards. Let me join it from the downwards. So on this secondary panel, let me first resize it. I want to use it to see the outside part of this. I want to add a light, area light here near this window, which will be our first window here. So let me remove the camera from this side and let me pan around, and here's our first window here. This window is this window, so let me first shift the 3D cursor by pressing shift, then right click to where you want it to be positioned. So I want it to be positioned somewhere here up, somewhere near the window. Let me put it somewhere there. Oops. So somewhere there. Let's now add an area light by pressing shift A, then go to light and add an area light. Then you can scale it by pressing S, then scale, confirm, press S again and scale it until you start seeing it. Press S again and scale it like that. Now let's rotate it on the x-axis by pressing R, then X to be to point somewhere there. Let's move it on the y-axis by pressing G, then Y. Then let's move it upwards by pressing G, then Z. Then now let's rotate it on the x-axis by pressing R, then X. Yeah. Now let's add the watts to about 500 also. And now let's give it a quick render and see how it look. So let's join this area by hovering your mouse in between here and right clicking, then join areas. Then I want you to join it on this side. As you can see, there's an arrow to guide you here, so confirm by left clicking. And now let's press F12. Then I'll resume this video to show you what we have so far. And with now, then in the next video we'll now start animating the camera, how it will be moving from this point to this point as it enters to this room. So let's give it a quick render by pressing F12, and I'll resume after it has finished rendering.